Welcome back to the Crochet Creatives with my friends at yarnspirations.com. We have a pattern that is by Linda Dean, and it's Sea to Shining Sea Crochet Throw. This is almost like a sampler where we will start off with single crochet, we'll go to a V-stitch, then the starburst stitch, and then back to the single crochet, and then the V-stitch, and etc. The color sequence is right here on page number 1 if you would like to follow the colors in order to make this happen. I will leave that in your hands to be able to follow. Here's my fair warning right up front. I am going to be changing the instructions just slightly in order to get the stitch counts to be able to work up more perfectly. So if you are going to follow the pattern, please do that, but don't follow the video at the same time. However, if you follow the video with the instructions that I will give, I also have a diagram that I provided that will match this tutorial. If you follow the more information link of this pattern in the video description, you will find you can download my diagram that I'm using, and as well as you can download the written instructions. So you will still need the written instructions for the sequence of how things are going to work out, but the actual instruction on how to do the rows do vary, especially as we get closer to the starburst section, which is just right in here. So without further ado, let me show you the diagram that I made. This diagram is available for download. This particular blanket is in multiples of 24 plus 18. So you go 24, 24, 24. When you're happy with the width of it, just add another 18 chains and you will have the balance, so all of this will work out. I put a red dot underneath of these just to indicate exactly which stitch you're going into in order to do this. It gets kind of complicated when you're in this V-stitch here, but if you work it out, and just be patient with yourself, you'll be able to see where those go. So there's that, and then also the second page is the stitch key that has what the symbols mean if you're interested in that as well. And we're going to be following this step by step as we go through the process. So without further ado, you can use Red Heart Soft or Red Heart Super Saver, whatever you want to use, a 6mm size J crochet hook. I'm just using a 5.5mm crochet hook today and some Red Heart Super Saver that I have left over. And I got to deal with the cat. I'll be right back. The pattern states to chain 162. That is correct. That is also a multiple of 24 plus 18. So either chain 162 or do the multiples of 24, 24, 24. When you're happy with the width, just add 18 more and then do your first chain that way. So just now at the end of my chain, for transparency reasons, I have 2 multiples of 24 and then I added my 18. Let's begin row number 1. Starting at the back hump of the second chain, so count it back, so 1 and 2. I just want you to go into the back hump of each one of the chains, and if you want to use the regular part of the chain, you can, and just apply 1 single crochet in each of the chains going across. This is row number 1. I'm coming all the way to the end of my chain. This is row number 1. And now we're going to turn our work and begin row number 2. Row number 2, we're going to chain 1 and just starting in the very first one, just apply 1 single crochet in every stitch all the way to the other side. Please do this, and then we're going to do a crochet diagram review because the repeating of this blanket, then we'll start. Coming across number 2, go right to the end, and let's do that last one and turn our work, and let's go back to the diagram. We're now just completed number 2. So we're technically, as we start, we're going to start row number 3 right here. So we're going to start by establishing where the V stitches are going to go. So you'll chain 3, which will count as a double crochet, skip just 1 and start placing in these V stitches. So a double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. Then you're skipping 2 stitches and doing this all the way across. And if your stitch count is right, you're going to skip the last one here and go and double crochet in the final. There is 10 rows of these V-stitches, but the first time I show you, we have to get it established, and then the rest of the V-stitches all just puzzle into each other, which is really easy to maintain, and there's 10 rows of this. So what I'm going to do is show you how to get started from this section. I'll show you one more row. I'm going to ask you then to go all the way to row number 12, assuring that you have 10 of these, and then I'm going to show you how to do the starburst stitch work that is up here. So let's do number 3 first. So as we start number 3, row number 19, which will be the final of the repeating section, you're going to notice that you'll have these single crochets again, and then the V-stitch will be reestablished. So you'll see a flat row of single crochet in the future. So just chain up 3 and skip just 1 stitch and come to the 3rd stitch over. Okay, so it's 1, 2, 3 from the edge, and you're going to double crochet, chain 1, and double crochet in. Then skip 2 and go to the third and V-stitch. So a double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. So skip 2, go to the third and V-stitch. I want you to do this all the way to the other side, and I'll meet you there in just a moment. This is row number 3. I'm coming to the other side. I only have 2 stitches left and my V-stitch is in, and I've kept in sequence. So you skip the next one and just go right into the last and double crochet. This also confirms to me to let me know that my stitch multiple of 24 plus 18 was correct. Turn your work and let's do row number 4. Row number 4 all the way through 12 is exactly what I'm about to show you. So I'm going to have you do all of those. So what we want to do is that we want to just chain 3 to begin, and then you are going to go a V-stitch right directly in the chain 1 that separates the V out. So you'll just double crochet right into the center, chain 1, and double crochet in. So you're going right in the directly in the middle. So go to the next V-stitch and double crochet, chain 1, and double crochet. This is going to be a very fast process because you don't really have to count much, you just have to look. So next V-stitch, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. So you're putting a V inside of a V. Please do this all the way across, and I will meet you at the end of the row, and I'm going to expect you to have this done all the way to the end of row number 12, which is essentially 10 rows of these V-stitches that you'll see. So I will meet you at the end of the row first. When you get to the end of the row, you've got the V-stitch inside the V-stitch. This here is the chain 3, so make sure you double crochet right in top of the chain 3. So don't go into a space, go right into the chain work itself. So what I'm going to expect you to do now is finish off this section. So we are in row number 4 right now. I need you to go all the way to row number 12. So there will be 10 rows of these V-stitches that you'll see, and when we come back, then I will be back on the diagram to show you what to do next. So I'm going to assume that you're going to do this, and I'm going to build the next section on this little section here just for demonstration purposes today. So let's assume that you have all of these V-stitch rows done. So if you've not, just put me on pause and maybe back later. I'm going to start now rows number 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, and 19. I'm going to do all of that on camera with you. This is the whole section for the Starburst stitch that you see. So in the very first time that we're about to hit this thing is that we have to be very conscious of where these stitches are going to go. Sometimes it's easier to tell than others, so we're going to just take our time and figure it out. You should know that when it says to skip so many stitches to do things, it can either be a stitch, real stitch itself, or it's a chain 1 space is the stitch. So when you see it says skip 3 stitches, you're skipping a space, a stitch, and then a single here is in the chain 1 space. That will be happening all the way across. And so this is probably the most hardest thing about this whole thing. And then I will show you how to continue to build this up. Make sure that you are still watching the colors in case that matters to you. And that's what we're going to begin. So let's start row number 13 next. So let's begin. We're going to chain 1, and we're going to single crochet in the top of the first double crochet that you see. And now it says to skip 3 stitches. So you're skipping the double crochet, the chain 1 space, and the double crochet itself. Those are the 3 that you're skipping. This is not an equal, like the stitches that you're skipping are not always the same. So you're just gonna have to make sure that when you skip 3 stitches, you're counting the spaces as a stitch. So going in the 4th stitch over, after you've skipped the first 3, you are going to apply 9 double crochets into the same stitch. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So if it was 7, it would be a Catherine wheel stitch, but because it's 9, it's called the Starburst stitch. Now when you do that, it kind of opens things up. So it opened up that double crochet. So don't forget that there's a single crochet right after that. So be mindful of what's in front and what's in behind in case that opens up for you and you're not able to identify your stitches. So you have to skip 3 stitches. So I'm going to skip the chain 1 space that this is kind of interrupting, the next double crochet and the next double crochet, and I'm going to come right into the next chain 1 space and single crochet in. And that's how you're going to do this across. So you need to skip 3 stitches. So skip the next double, double, single, and then come into this one right here and push in 9 double crochets. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So then what are you going to do? You're going to skip the next 3 stitches. So I'm going to skip this double, single, double, and I'm going to single into this double right here. And I need you to do this all the way across. And these will be equally spaced with each other, and you will meet me at the end of the row in just a few moments from now. So just put me on pause and continue across. So I'm coming up to the end. If, for example, that you didn't have the right number that you're skipping, maybe you're missing one, fake it. You've come this far, you don't want to go backwards. So if you had, I have 3 stitches I'm about to skip, so 1, 2, and 3, and I'm just going to go and do the top of the 4th chain. But if there was only like 2 stitches left and then the top, I would just place it in anyway. So skip the 2 and still go right to the end. Nobody's watching, there's no crochet police. So this is the hardest part of this whole blanket. Once you have this established, the rest of this will all line up perfectly. So let's turn our work and let's do row number 14 next. In row number 14, what we have to do is that we have to chain 3, and then we're going to collect the next 4 in a row, and this will be a 4 together double crochet. We're going to put it together and then chain 3, and then come to the middle one. It's the 5th one of the fan that you see. We're going to single crochet, chain 3, and then we're going to collect the next 9 all together, put it together, chain 3, and then single into the next here. So we, on row number 14, you just have to watch that you have a half a wheel going on here. That is, actually it's more of a quarter wheel. And then on the other side, you'll also have a quarter wheel that happens there. So that's really the only thing that you really got to pay attention to. So, and it's really not a big deal. So let's begin number 14. So there's technically a color change in row number 14, just so you know. If you wanted that, then you can do it. So you're going to chain 3. That'll count as your first double crochet. And then we're going to collect the next 4 in a row. So starting with the very next one right here, we're going to do a 4 together double crochet. So wrap the hook going into that stitch, pull through 2 and hold. And you're going to do 3 more just like that. So wrap and in, pull through 2 and hold, wrap and in, pull through 2 and hold, and then do it 1 more time. You should have a total of 5 loops on the hook before you're going to put it together. So to put it together, you're going to yarn over it and pull it all like this, right? And then you are just going to yarn over it and push it together like that. So you create a center loop like this, a center circle. Now you're going to chain 3. So 1, 2, 3, and you're going to come to the next available one on the top of the wheel. This is the 5th one up. And this is an empty one, and it's going to be a single crochet. So the chain 3 allows this to have space so that the center will stay over here and not pull it over. So now we're going to dip down between all of this right up to the other side and leave the 5th one empty, but we're going to count that. So to start this, we need to get the center of the wheel established first. So we're going to chain 3. So 1, 2, 3, and this will allow us to be in the center. You see if you follow it straight down. So now we're going to collect the next 9 in a row. So yarn over and start in the next one and just start collecting. So pull through 2 and hold. And that was 1 and in, pull through 2 and hold. This is 2. And so you keep doing this. Now, when you do this, there's going to be 10 loops left on your hook by the time that you collect enough of them. So the 10th loop is the very starting loop that you started with, and the other 9 are the double crochets that you're collecting right now. So what I would do in my brain is that I say, okay, here's 5 and here's 4, so that gives me 9. I need a total of 10 loops. So just look for that and just use your fingers to kind of help separate the stitches so that it's easier to count, and therefore you don't have to be excessive with your counting. To finish this, you're going to yarn over, pull through all of your loops, yarn over, pull through. There is the center of the wheel, and now you're going to chain 3 to get yourself to the very next stitch and single crochet. So 1, 2, 3, and single into the next empty one on the top of the fan, and therefore that'll pull over. So let's do it again. So chain 3, and let's start moving down and collecting. So I'm not even going to bother to count. If you want extra texture, if you use the back loop only, it really provides a really unique texture as well to your project, but you can determine to do that if you want to. So I'm just collecting, and you can kind of see it going up the wheel. And once you think that you have enough stitches, just kind of separate it 5 and 5. So there's 5, here's 5, therefore I'm done. Yarn over, pull through everything. Yarn over, pull through to create the center, and then chain 3. Okay, and then come on to the top of the next stitch. That's the top of the wheel. And I want you to do this all the way across. And what this is doing is it's filling in the empty spaces so that you end up with a flat edge. And you'll be doing this again in the future. So let's go all the way across, and I'll see you at the end of the row, and I'll show you how to finish the opposite side. So you will notice this section has a bit of texture to it. You can flatten it out if you want to, but it will be a little bit wavy, which is what you're looking for. To finish off the final, you're going to chain 3 to create the center point, and you're only going to collect the next 5. And those are the last 5 that you have. So with this, you're going to have 6 loops on your hook because you have the starting loop before collecting all 5. There's your 6. Pull through everything, and then just kind of yarn over and pull through, and you now have the center, and you can turn your work and then move on in the pattern. So let's now move on to row number 15. So back here on the diagram, row number 15, we're going to chain 3. That'll be your first double crochet, and there will be 4 leaning over. You see how there was 5 double crochets that came together here? This is going to match exactly what you see below. So this here, the over of doing your fans are a lot faster than doing the ones that are underside. So you'll find it pretty enjoyable. So we are going to only do a quarter of the circle starting, and we're going to finish with a quarter of the circle, but everything else in between is exactly what you know when you were doing it down here. So let's begin to do that next. Let's start row number 15. So chain 3, that's your first double crochet. And what you want to do is 4 more double crochets into the center of where you pulled that all together. So that will give you a total count of 5. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And once you have that done, you're going to look for where the single crochet is attached to the top of the wheel below, and it's right here, and you're going to single crochet. So these are going to match exactly what you see below. So there was a quarter of a wheel here, there was a quarter of a wheel here. The next one is the 9 double crochets, and they're going to go into the center of the wheel here. So the center of the starburst. So we have 9 there, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. And once you have your 9 done, you look for where the next single crochet is over here. You single crochet in it, and you continue that all the way across. So you're essentially building up the wheel so that it has the top half that you'll see. I'll meet you at the end of this. So just reach on over, put your 9 double crochets in, single to the next single, and etc. I'll see you at the end of the row. When you get to the end of the row, right where everything comes together, there's going to be 5 double crochets in that one. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, so that will look like that. So at the end, when you do a little bit of a border, you can actually pull that together so it'll look more in line. So now you're going to turn your work, and we're going to move on to your next row, number 16. In number 16, we're going to chain 1, and we'll single crochet in the top, and then we're going to start immediately and start the undersides. So you chain 3 first, you collect the 9, put it together, chain 3, single to the top. So it's exactly what you did here. The difference is that you're starting it immediately and not creating a quarter like you did before. So that happens on the same on the other side. So we just get right into it and right out of it at the end. Let's do number 16. Let's do number 16. You're going to chain 1 and single crochet in the top of the first. So we're going to fill in the hole here. So we're going to chain 3 to start, and then start collecting the 9. So you just do it with what you already learned before. So if you decided that you're going to count the stitches as you go, or you're going to just look at it and divide it by 5 and 5, let me know in the comments of what you do with that, because it helps me to be able to teach better in the future. So do I have 5 and 5? And I do. So yarn over, pull through. So there's a total of 10 loops that I pulled through. Yarn over to pull through to create the center, and then chain 3. And then single in the top of the next wheel, and then start again. So chain 3, and collect the 9, which gives you 10 loops on your hook, and then pull through everything, and then make your center, and then chain 3 and move on. Please do this all the way across for number 16. I'm coming all the way across, and I'm coming over. So I'm going to finish my last full half circle here. So I'm collecting all of them, meaning that there's going to be 9 that's collected, and there should just be 1 left, which a single crochet will go into at the end. I think there's 1 more, so it's 4. Okay, that's it. So there are 5 and 5, so there's 10. So pull through, make the loop, and then chain 3, and then single into your very last one. Just like that. So now you're going to turn your work, and we're going to move on to row number 17 next. So are we going to be doing the uppers or lowers? So what you're noticing on the pattern is that this appears flat because it's the same color, but as soon as you start changing colors, you give it the wave that it appears in the pattern. Let's begin number 17. 17, we're going to begin, it's like row number 13 when we started. The difference is that we're not going into a V-stitch here. We're just going into the centers of what we see. So we're going to chain 1, put your 9 into the center of what you see below, single into the single, and then 9, and you'll do this all the way across for number 17. So I'm here at the end, and I'm just starting, so chain 1, single into the single, and then in the center point, right here, you're going to apply your 9 doubles. So we have 1, you probably can't avoid counting this one, but this is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Once you have your 9, look for the single. It's in between the wheels. So single into the single, and then start again in the center. So 9, and then single into the single, and etc., and go all the way to the edge. And I'll see you on the other side in a moment. Okay, I'm at the end of row number 17. I got my half wheel here, and my 9 double crochets in here. So I'm just going to reach over to the final and single into the end. So we have 1 more row to go because we have to get ourselves to a flat edge. So row number 18 is going to be the final of this section before you end up switching back to the V-stitch eventually. So let's turn our work and let's get our diagram and do it one more time. Row number 18 is exactly how we did row number 14. So we're going to chain up 3. We'll put the next 4 in there together. Okay, to bring that all together, chain 3, single into the top. So it's exactly what you already know, and we're just going to work our way across and do row number 18, and then row number 19 we're going to come back, we're going to get ourselves to be flat again, and then the V-stitches come back, and then you can go all the way back to row number 3 here. This is technically row number 3, and you're going to begin the journey all over again. Row number 18, you're going to chain 3, and you're going to collect the next 4 in a row. So just yarn over and start collecting. So what you already know, you just got to do it. So you'll see 5 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through all 5, yarn over again, you have the center point, and then you need to get here, so you got to chain 3. So 1, 2, 3, so single into the next one that's empty. And so now you're going to do these undersides again, so just chain 3 to start, and then collect the next 9. So when you do that, there should be how many loops on your hook? Leave me a comment if you know the answer. Okay, so you don't hear me counting because I'm not. I'm just kind of eyeing it up where I think it's going to land. And so I just kind of pin it. There's 5 and 4. One more time. So there's a total of 10 loops on the hook. Pull through everything, form the center, and then chain 3 to move on. And single into the next empty, and etc. Please do this all the way for row number 18, and you're going to get yourself to be a flat edge like you had been before. So I'm coming near to the edge of number 18. I'm going to single to the next empty one, and then this is going to be a quarter wheel, so just chain 3 and then collect the next 5 that are in a row. And those are the last 5. Okay, and so you'll have 6 loops on, pull through, and just make the center. And now you're going to start the next row. The next row is the last row of a repeat, and so we're going to get ourselves to being flat again, and then you can pick up back down here on row number 3. We use video chapters, so you can just easily scroll back if you want to use that. So let's begin the final row of the repeat, number 19. Row number 19 was one of the instructions that I did change. I changed a couple of instructions here in the video. I didn't really point them out, but I did. So row number 19, to get ourselves back to where we need to go, every one of the chain 3 spaces that you had, there's going to be 3 single crochets in those, and then there will be 1 single crochet in the tops of either the top of the wheel or the single crochet. So this will allow us to get back to the same stitch count so that you can restart all over again. Let's do number 19. To do number 19, you're just going to chain up 1 and single crochet in the middle of the wheel. So the next one is a chain 3 space, so just put in 3 single crochets there. This was different from how it was written before. So 1 into the single, and then you have another chain 3 space, so put in 3 single crochets in there too. That's as hard as this thing gets. So if there's a stitch to fill it in, and if there's a space, make sure that you put 3 single crochets in each one of those, and that will return you back to being in balance to begin the repeat all over again. I'll be right back. Coming to the end of number 19, I'm just putting 3 singles in each of the chain 3 spaces, and then just in the last one right here, 1 single into the last. And this will take you back to the right stitch counts to be able to restart. And so when you turn your work, then you're going to go back to row number 3. And row number 3, remember how I said that it was going to be a flat row of single crochets? Well, row number 3 is the V-stitches, and then you can restart again and do the repeating section. Let's go back to the pattern itself. Back here in the pattern, I took you to row number 19. So it says to do the 20th row as row number 3, and then rows number 21 to 28 as row number 4, 8 more times. And so what you're doing is that you are just completing all of this particular concept in order to have the repeat over and over and over. Okay, so then that's all you need to do. So then 29 to the 92, it's the 13th all the way to the 28th row 4 more times, and then the final 2 rows that are left right at the end is just 1 single crochet in each at the end and fasten off. There is no border in this thing, but if you want to chase around the outside with a single crochet that's evenly spaced, just make sure that you put in a total of 3 single crochets into a corner and just equally space out your single crochets across. If you're on the tops or bottoms, it will be equally spaced, but the sides, just make sure you do that. It's not really required, but that's something that you can decide to do for yourself. This is not a hard pattern. It's quite interesting, actually, to be honest with you, and I really like this concept, and I hope that you've enjoyed yourself today. Please leave me a comment and let me know how I did. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.